Hello, it's your friendly neighbourhood maths teacher here to give you a quick maths lesson about probability. So what do we understand probability to mean in the real world as well as in GCSE maths? Well, probability is the likelihood of something happening, or the chance of something happening, okay? We could talk about the probability you will miss the bus, or the probability that it will rain today, or the probability that we will be back in college before Easter, who knows? Okay? One of the things we know about probability is that if I said there's a 20% chance of rain today, what's the percent chance it won't rain? 80%, because probability has to add up to 100%. Either it will rain or it won't. Okay? If there's a 30% chance of you missing the bus, there's a 70% chance that you won't. I don't know how you'd calculate that, but that's the truth. Okay? In the real world, often we tend to talk about probability using words like likely, unlikely. Here are some examples of that. Okay, this is basic probability. So what is the probability you will visit space in your lifetime? I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but probably unlikely. Although if you want to, go for it. Reach for the stars. Question 2 here says Christmas is on the 25th of December. What's the probability of Christmas happening on the 25th of December? It's the same every year. It's guaranteed. It is certain. Okay? What's the probability you roll more than 3 on a fair dice? More than 3. So you've got 4, 5 or 6. That's half the options. So I'm going to say that's an even chance is what we can call that. And what's the probability you will see a pig with wings today? Sadly, that is impossible. Okay? But at GCSE level, we want to write probabilities either as a fraction, a decimal, or a percentage. We have met all of these things before. You know what fractions, decimals, and percentages are. You know how to work with them. So what I'm really trying to tell you here is probability is easy. Fractions, decimals, or percentages, probability is easy. Because all we need to do is write them either as a fraction, a decimal, or a percentage. Okay, let's have a look at some examples. Basic probability again. What's the probability you roll a 2 on a fair 6-sided dice? It has nothing to do with the number 2, I will tell you. Okay, there's how many options on a dice? There's 6 of them, and we want one of those options, the number 2. So it's one option out of 6. Okay, so we're going to write that as a fraction. 1 out of 6. Nice and easy. Next question says, what's the probability you roll at least a 2? Okay, at least a 2 on a fair 6-sided dice. What does that mean? That means 2 or higher. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5 options out of 6. That's my probability, 5 over 6. What's the probability you roll an even number on a 6-sided dice? How many even numbers are there? 2, 4, 6. There's 3 of them. 3 out of 6. If I wanted to, could I simplify that probability? Yes, I could. 3 over 6 simplifies to a half. Well done if you said that at home. What's the probability I roll a prime number on a 6-sided dice? What's a prime number? Do we know? Do we remember? Well done if you do. A prime number is a number that can only be divided by itself and 1. It has 2 factors. Okay, 1 is not a prime number, but 2 is, 3 is, 5 is, 7 is, 11 is. Okay, which of those are on a dice? 2, 3 and 5. So the probability I roll one of them, 3 options out of 6. Okay? What's the probability I get a head when I toss a fair coin? 1 option out of 2, because it's either heads or tails, so my probability is going to be a half. Okay? That's how we can calculate basic probability. When it comes to probability with more than one event, say I'm rolling 2 dice or I'm rolling the same die twice, we need to learn this other rule. Okay? There are 2 rules here. The first is that when they use the word or, that actually means plus, it means add. Okay, the probability of this or this, we have to add them together. If I wanted to say the probability of rolling a 1 or a 3 on a dice. Okay, so there's 1, 1, there's 1, 3, so the probability of a 1 would be a 6th, probability of a 3 would be a 6th. What's the probability I roll a 1 or a 3? It's 1/6 plus 1/6, and that would give me 2/6. Okay, because or means add. If they use the word and, which means you need both of them, not just one or the other, that means times. Okay? Say I had 2 dice and I want to roll double 6s to get out of jail in Monopoly, or whatever the rule may be. Okay? The probability of me rolling 1/6 is 1 over 6. The probability of me rolling the other 6 is 1 over 6. But it's not a 1 in 6 chance of me rolling double 6s, that would be crazy. It's actually a 6th times a 6th. Okay? The actual answer you get for rolling double 6s, the probability is 1 over 36, because we times across the top, times across the bottom, if you remember. Okay, so or means add and means times. This may not be a rule that you've encountered before, but hopefully it's fairly straightforward to remember, especially if we make a song about it. A 5, 6, 7, 8. Probability, probability, probability is easy. Or means plus, and means times. Probability is easy. So all we have to do is remember that or means plus and means times. Let's look at an exam style question where we can put that into practice. Okay, so here it tells us Tony has a 0.2 chance of winning tennis and a 0.4 chance of winning pool. Essentially, he's not great at either of those sports, which is very relatable. This is a question where we have probability shown as decimals. Okay, same idea, just with decimals this time. Complete the probability tree below. So it's giving you, this is his tennis, this is the pool, that's what happens if he wins tennis, those are then the pool games he'd play, that's what happens if he loses, okay? We need to fill in all of these missing numbers. So if he's got a 0.2 chance of winning tennis, what's the chance he loses? It's going to be 0.8, okay? Because they have to add up to 1. It's like earlier with the rain where I said 20% and 80%. They have to add up to 1 overall. So 0.8 chance he loses tennis. If he's got a 0.4 chance of winning pool here, what's the chance he loses? That's going to be 0.6, okay? Because again, they have to add up to 1 overall. He either wins or he loses. If he loses tennis, how is that going to affect his chance of winning or losing pool? It's not, because they're completely different events, okay? They have no bearing on each other. So this is still going to be 0.4, he wins pool, and 0.6, he loses. Now, if you get asked the question, what's the probability of Tony winning tennis and winning pool? What did I have to do for and? What does and mean in probability? And means times, okay? So I have to multiply these two winning probabilities. 0.2 times 0.4. That gives me 0.08. That's the chance of him winning both. Winning tennis and winning pool. What's the probability he wins tennis and loses pool? So that times that. I'm just multiplying my way down these branches, if you can see. Okay, 0.2 times 0.6 gives us 0.12. What's the probability he loses tennis and wins pool? 0.8 times 0.4 gives me 0.32. And what's the probability he loses tennis and loses pool? 0.48. We multiply our way down that branch, and that's the answer we get. Okay? If you had a question saying, what's the probability he wins both or loses both? What did or mean? Or means plus. So he wins both or loses both. We'd have to add those two together. 0.08 plus 0.48 would give me 0.56. Well done if you said that at home, okay? Have a look back at some of these slides, at some of this video if you need to brush up on it. Otherwise, if you're happy with everything I've told you so far, have a look at the questions I've linked in the video description, and as always, let me know if you have any questions. Probability, probability, probability is easy. I have nothing left to teach because probability is easy, yeah.